welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. I don't think we're supposed to sit by idle while we continue to use a long outdated system that produces war, poverty, collusion, corruption, ruins our environment and threatens every aspect of our health and does nothing but divide and segregate us. I don't think how much military equipment we're selling to other countries, how many hydrocarbons we're burning, how much money is being printed in exchange is a good measure of how healthy our society is. But I do think I can speak for everyone when I say we're sick of this shit. I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
I'm Guy Pigden. That didn't really rhyme, per se. It didn't really have a lyrical bent to it.
Well, there's a bit of wordplay in there, I think. But that is Enter Shikari from their song Gandhi, Mate, Gandhi. I don't actually know if that's what it's called. Might just be called Gandhi. Anyway, Enter Shikari. They're my favourite band of all time. They have overtaken Blink-182.
Oh,
which is a big call. It's a big call.
Whoa.
I have many, many years of love for Blink-182. Many a fond memory. They helped form me. They helped shape the man I am today. But ultimately, Enter Shikari, they've overtaken.
Big words on the podcast today.
Yeah. So, last week, we drank on the podcast.
We did, yeah.
And for the first time in ages, it was also the first recording since the end of Dry July. So I had not drank in a month.
Yeah.
We didn't really eat. First we went for some beers at Neighbourhood, our local, sort of, and did not eat properly, and then came here and drank that entire bottle of Kentucky Fire Tennessee whiskey. And then
within the space of an hour and a half.
One podcast, yeah. So then I left and I felt fine, and I went along to the Thirsty Dog to do my poetry for the night. I was going to wow them with a performance of a new poem. Mm-hmm. I arrived. I immediately started feeling sick. I went out to the back courtyard and threw up for 2 hours. I missed my slot on the stage. You know, I put my name down and I was like, nah. Just didn't show up, you know. I was just out the back, and I was like, God, I hope my poetry friends don't see me. This is very unbecoming, you know. This is very unbecoming of a young intellectual such as myself. And so it was pretty shit. And then on top of that, because I didn't have any food, there was nothing to throw up, so I was sort of and kind of just like hacking up like little bits of nothing for ages. And then I went and tried to have a crap. Thought that might help. But that just meant I just ended up sitting on the toilet, like out in this like cold toilet, out sort of like a outside toilet, a cold toilet, just with my pants around my ankles for like another hour, and then I threw up into the sink while I was sitting on the toilet. And I didn't crap.
You got really sick.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And then finally I was like, I had the strength to like drag myself off the toilet and pull my fucking pants up. And then, I left and I just made a beeline for the front door. Didn't say anything to anybody if I could avoid it. Directly out the front. Called an Uber, got home, and the Uber driver almost fucking killed me. He started going through a red light and he had to like screech his brakes and reverse and shit. And I was like, damn son, I don't even care that you almost killed me. I'm going to throw up in your fucking car if you don't get me home, you know? And then I got home and went immediately to bed. Didn't feel too bad the next day because my last drink was like 7:30 p.m. when I left here.
Yep.
So at least I didn't drink more at the bloody bar. So that was how my night went down.
That's quite an adverse reaction, really.
Yeah. Well, I think it was just the whole combination of no food, too quick with the drinking.
Too quick, for sure, with the drinking.
But the no food and not having drunk for a month as well would have affected me.
Well,
it was just a little bit overzealous.
Yeah. By comparison, I did pretty well. I waited for a few hours until I'd sobered up, and then I went to the gym,
Oh, shit.
and then I went home.
Right. Gangster.
I went to the gym at like 12:30 because you see, I'd planned to do all these things. I had some grand plans for Tuesday.
Yeah, go to the gym.
I was going to go to the gym. I was going to do some editing. I was going to do a whole bunch of different. I was maybe going to do a bit of Ubering. I didn't do any of those things except go to the gym. So it was a bit of a whitewash.
Well, because I was like, nah, you'll be fine, mate. Couple more beers.
Yeah.
The guy was like,
the devil's advocate.
Yeah, I was like, a few beers in the sun, then, is it? And he was like, well, I've got shit to do. Nah, beers in the sun. Pigville Productions business meeting.
And I was like, well, all right, I suppose.
guess.
But then come into this whiskey situation.
Yeah.
And, it all just went to hell.
Yeah.
So what else been going on?
Well, we left on a couple of cliffhangers last week.
Right.
One was that
I was drunk. I don't remember.
Right. We left on. There was two cliffhangers.
Oh yeah, TEDx Ruakura. I do remember that.
So we never spoke about TEDx Ruakura.
Yep.
That was my big performance. I've been practicing for a month, more than a month, like getting as much stage time as possible. And it was the big day. So I went down to Hamilton with Angie, 2 nights in a hotel. Really, it was a pretty sweet hotel as well. Quest in Hamilton. It was very nice.
Classic 3-star hotel, Quest in Hamilton. Check it out.
It was very nice though. Like my room was really awesome. It was like a full unit. It felt like an apartment kind of thing. It was really cool. And they treated me well. So yeah, I do recommend. And anyway, went down there, went really well, like pretty much nailed it. Lots of positive feedback. Everyone, a lot of people followed me on Twitter and were watching on the live stream and were live tweeting things and live tweeted some quotes from me and shit like that, which was pretty badass. But I did have one fuck up, which I didn't even realize. Okay, firstly, there was a moment where I was like, I walked down stage, I said what I was going to say, I started what I was saying, and then I was like, I don't remember my next bit. I don't know what I'm saying. And I just sort of stood there, and then I kind of like did a little pace back and forth. A classic
pace as if you're thinking and deep in thought.
Well, I was thinking. You were deep I was deep in fucking shit is what I was in. I was like, oh, fuck. I don't know what to... And I was like, man, I've been so cool, calm, and collected throughout this entire process. You know, like all the rehearsals, I just sort of blew in, did the rehearsal, you know, got back on the road and got out of the air. I was just very cool, calm, and collected, and I never really felt very nervous. And I was like, man, I can't be the guy... All this flashed in my brain, you know, in like 1 second while I was on stage. My mum's watching this on the live stream, you know? Everyone's watching. I told everyone to watch. But also, like, I can't be the guy of anyone who's going to fuck up today. It can't be me because I'm the one who's been so cool, calm, and collected. It's just like... I don't know, like what a douchebag if you fuck it up. But luckily, it kind of it came back to me, and it happened to be sort of a sentence where a long pause kind of worked. So It just sort of worked, you know. It was like I was saying something extra deep. But the big fuck up I had, and this really bothers me, and I haven't told anybody yet, was I watched the playback on it. Now, before I went on stage, I was desperately trying to think up this answer to a question they were going to ask me at the end. They were like, so at the end, we're going to ask you a question. Now, they had given me a lot of warning, and I had kind of thought of what I was going to say, but I hadn't really rehearsed it because I was doing the main performance stuff. And then so I was, before I was going on stage, I was desperately trying to get this answer straight in my head so I knew what to say at the end of it and not come across like a bumbling idiot. And so, and that answer had the word immortality in it. And so I was like, okay, yeah, immortality, blah, 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 blah. And then my opening line of my speech was, now the theme of the entire event is morphosis. TEDx Ruakura, morphosis. That's the theme. So my opening line was, the theme of morphosis really resonated with me because I feel like I've just gone through one myself. That was my opening line. Yep. I walked out there, and without missing a beat, I didn't even know I did this. Without skipping a beat, I walked out there and I said, the theme of immortality really resonated with me because I've just gone through one myself. It's like, that's not English. That sentence makes literally zero sense.
No.
It's your opening sentence doesn't make sense.
It's saying you've become an immortal.
Well, it's pretty... And
you've become a god.
This is going to go on YouTube. This is going to be... Well, hopefully they don't fucking cut it. You know, so this whole spiel is going to be immortalized online, and I was hoping to really push it, and I'm fucking walking out there. So, yeah, hopefully... I don't know. I was kind of like, maybe I could like ADR it because they are going to edit it. So you could cut away to the audience and I'm like, the theme of Morphosis really resonated with me. But I just don't know if...
It'd be hard to get it in to get it to really work.
Well, the other thing is there was a rehearsal the night before. And they did record some of that, and I didn't fuck it up the night before.
Yeah.
So I am wondering if you could just like lift the audio from that opening sentence from the night before and put it on there.
Well, you
know?
definitely could. What you'd do is you'd go the theme of Metamorphosis from the first sentence, shooting, looking back at the crowd so you couldn't exactly see what your mouth was saying.
Yeah.
That would work.
Yeah, so now I guess I just need to hit up somebody and see if there's anybody out there that would actually do that. If they're actually going to do that.
Bother.
Yeah, because they're going to be like, so you want me to fuck around finding all this other shit because so you fucked up one word.
Yeah.
Fuck off. But anyway, hopefully Chris or Sam or from the Chris and Sam podcast are listening and they can start, just like putting wheels in motion down there. So, I don't know, just putting it out there, guys.
Of immortality really resonated with me.
Because I've just gone through one myself. That don't make sense.
Yeah, not really. But I guess people were just into it, so they were just going with the flow.
Well, that's the thing. I do think that probably most people were kind of like, did he just say, what did he say? And then they're like, well, it didn't really... Anyway, moving on, and then you kind of start following the next thing.
Wait a second, what the fuck did he say? Oh, who cares, whatever he's saying now.
No, you'd be like, I probably misheard that, or you'd be like, I must have missed something, like you probably... And then by the time... Then the performance starts and you kind of forget about it, So I think it's all right. So yeah, that was one cliffhanger, but it was all in all a resounding success. I do feel like it lifted my profile slightly online and stuff like that, and looked pretty cool.
I logged onto the stream.
Oh, did you?
But way too late.
Oh, you missed it.
So no, not way too late, but a little bit too late. And there was some chick singing.
Right.
And I was like, oh boy,
yeah,
I'm out.
I'm outies. Well, that's a shame, but it will be out on YouTube.
Yeah,
and when it is, I will share it, and the listeners can watch it too.
So what was the other cliffhanger?
Well, there was also you may or may not recall that I said I had written a rant. We were talking about McDonald's,
rant about me eating McDonald's,
and that stuff. Yeah. So last week we were talking about I can't remember the context exactly, but essentially you're a bad person for eating McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's probably something to do with the KFC bloody audition I had that I said no to.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't recall. The listeners know. Anyway, this is the rant that I wrote like months. It was like last year. It goes like this. Midnight. Guy comes home with some McDonald's in his hand. I don't say a thing. I don't mention the fact that our planet is in the 11th hour and without drastic change, he, I, and all of our grandchildren are going to die. I also don't mention the evil, inhumane, abhorrent, and cruel meat industry that he's directly financing when he supports McDonald's. But straight off the bat, he says, I don't want to hear any of your gay-ass hippie crap. I would like to take this moment to clarify my position on the environment.
Oh, boy.
Because I object to being called a hippie.
Oh, no.
In my mind, a hippie is a person who worships pseudoscience, peace, and love and good vibrations. I have chosen to cut back on meat not because I dislike meat. I fucking love it. It's delicious. Not because I don't believe humans aren't meant to eat meat. I believe that 2 million years of evolution within the Homo genus has led for us to have a need to eat meat. I chose to cut back on meat for two principal reasons, neither of which I would identify with the hippie movement. First and foremost, I want our species to survive. When I look back and read through history, I feel a sense of pride, a sense of belonging. I share in the joy of the conquests of people that have gone long before me. I would hate for all of that to have been in vain. I would feel as if I'd really let the team down. 200,000 years of Homo sapiens surviving against the odds, and I'm the guy that drops the fucking ball? The reason for wanting to avoid environmental catastrophe is purely selfish at heart. There's no peace or love here. Secondly, I have been brave enough to watch Earthlings. I find the industry that we have created out of exploiting animals is disgusting. I truly hope that this is a low point in our history. However, this is not a hippie standpoint. This is a basic humanity standpoint. This is about being a decent person. It's about feeling empathy for our cousins in the animal kingdom. So you see, neither of these motivations are compatible with my vision of a hippie. Finn.
I really think I probably said hipster, but I might have said hippie.
No, you said hippie. I want to hear you your hippie bullshit.
But also I will say that the only reason that I said that is because you gave me a, like, you didn't like look at me and be like, oh, hey, guy, how's it going,
Yeah,
bro?
I look like you're a piece
gave
of
me,
shit.
Yeah, you gave me a look like I was a total, like, the worst piece of shit human in existence. I
probably looked at you
like
the same.
ugh,
I probably looked at you the same way I would look at a person who pays for animals to be tortured and murdered.
Yeah, exactly. That was the look I picked up. So, that's why I was like, God, don't give me that shit. I'm just trying to eat my fucking macas. I'm hungry.
I'm just trying to eat this Big Mac, with a patty which is made of 6 different cows.
I will say,
mushed into one.
I will say also that several times prior to that, you had also like been like, have fun eating your like
McMisery.
Yeah, McMisery burger there, guy, or whatever it was. Yeah.
I just think you had a guilty conscience. I think I just walked out of my room and just saw you there, and you were like, I saw Harley with this McDonald's, and you just had a guilty conscience and you're like, I don't want to hear about it.
I don't think so. I think that look that you gave me probably wound me up the wrong way.
Now, speaking of bad consumer choices and TEDx, I afterwards, after my spiel on which I sort of talk about animal cruelty and stuff like that, not like too in depth, but I do reference it and stuff. And some people came up and talked to me afterwards, and one of them was like, "Oh, so you must be a vegetarian?"
And you're like,
and I was like, "Hee."
You go, well, I've been trying to cut down.
Well, I go, oh, well, I prefer the term conscientious consumer, which means I like cut back on meat and like only try to buy free range and like junk like that. And they're like, oh, okay. And I was like,
and then that guy looked at you like you looked at
like
me
a piece of shit,
when I was eating the McDonald's.
It was a middle-aged lady. And then, I was like, yeah, I did go vegetarian for a while, but then I fell off the wagon. And then the wagon rolled back and parked on top of me.
That's a good line.
Yeah, I thought it was not bad.
Did she chuckle at that?
Yeah,
or?
she did. Yeah, she did chuckle at that. So it felt very amicable, but I do think I probably still disappointed her. You know, because you got to walk the walk if you're going to talk the talk, and I ain't doing that. Yeah. I'm just I'm
talking.
I'm just talking. I'm just a bag of fucking wind.
Just a pretentious,
just a pretentious fucking douchebag. No, come on. I am much more conscientious as a consumer than I ever was before.
That's true.
Now, and then the conversation continued. It was me and these 2 middle-aged ladies, and one of them was like, oh, okay, cool. And then she was like, oh, and what about like your day job? You know, like what's your day job? Is your day job something, that kind of supports your standards?
She thought that you were a hippie. She legit thought she was like, okay, I've heard all this pretentious hippie bullshit. Like, this guy's legit. He's one of us. He's one of the brethren. We're going to welcome him in. So first, obviously, the hippie introduction. Of course, you're a vegetarian. No, sorry. And of course, you reflect, you have a job that reflects your thing, aka you're unemployed and you plow a little garden in your backyard.
No,
and you're not a true member of society.
No, there's a million conscientious jobs you can do. It just so happens that my job is not a conscientious job. Now, I put graphics on TV. Without talking about, I don't really like to talk about exactly who I work for. Partially it's shame, but it's mostly that I just don't really like the idea of people on the internet knowing what I do. You're quite happy to openly talk about it. But I don't really do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I put graphics on TV. But it is a racing TV, and there's animal cruelty issues associated with any racing industry, any animal racing industry.
Yep.
And then on top of that, this kind of gives you away what I do. But there's also gambling issues associated with the graphics that I put on TV. So I put these graphics on TV for that endorse kind of animal cruelty because it's part of this racing industry, and then on top of that there's the gambling societal cost of all these fucking losers out there, like gambling away little Jimmy's lunch money instead of, buying him a sandwich.
So for every graphic that you put up on
you know.
screen, someone somewhere gets their kneecaps broken and
for their gambling debts.
And create a broken family because they've squandered all their money on that.
what I do, on what I enable. I sort of had to say that, she was like, so what about your day job? Do your morals and your job line up? And I was like, well,
yeah, funny you should say that.
Look, I mean, it's not like I'm on, I'm not there with the animals.
Look, I'm
they're
just
mistreating them.
Look, fuck off with your gay hippie shit, lady.
I was like,
give me a break.
I was like, I don't want to hear any of your gay ass hippie shit.
Just let me try to live my life, all right? I'm just trying to make a fucking living.
So yeah, I better lift my game and at least go more vegetarian. But it's fucking hard because like Angie doesn't want to go full veggie,
Also,
this is my girlfriend who I cook with every fucking day.
It is actually very difficult to be healthily vegetarian.
Yeah,
like really difficult, and your body is meant to consume like more proteins than is really very sustainable on a pure vegetarian diet.
Yeah, well, I think I would be comfortable if I just cut back more. So I still eat meat a couple times a week, all right? Free range meat, a couple times a week, but maybe, like not every single day. I don't eat it every single day, but most. I had a large portion of roast free range, but roast chicken before I came here today.
Free range, baby.
It's free range. There's still a myriad of animal cruelty issues associated with free range.
It's free range, baby. It's free range.
It's not a free pass, though.
Conscience is clear.
Ooh,
free range.
Oh, that should be in a poem. It's free range, not a free pass.
Shit, write that down.
Yeah, jot it down.
Good luck with that. I respect your decision, but I will not be following you.
No,
Although I will say I'm actually not that bad when it comes to that kind of thing, in the sense that I really very rarely ever have any kind of dairy.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
I'm doing quite well there.
Yeah.
So I only have free range chicken in terms of my meals for the most part, or eggs, but my eggs are only free range eggs when I can afford it. Not always free range eggs.
Yeah.
Because they're quite expensive.
Yeah. Well, compared to the big, normally you get like a big tray of them for, $2.50 or $3 or whatever it is, or you can get 12 for like $9.
It's tricky, but obviously what you're paying for is essentially the standards and practices that are not horrific for these creatures.
Yeah.
And
I do think they taste better too. I feel like
they definitely do.
You can tell the difference between those cage eggs and those free range
there's
eggs.
scientific health-based evidence to suggest they're much better for you.
Yeah.
So, if you can go free range, bro.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Well, I got plenty, but you can probably do one.
Well, I got a little movie review going on.
Yeah.
I went to see, so this is a filmmaking podcast.
It's a podcast about our lives.
And sometimes we do film reviews here. Sometimes they're a year late, like last week. Or was it the week before?
What, when I reviewed The Revenant?
The Revenant, yeah.
Yeah.
But this one is super current.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
Right.
Now, there's been a lot of buzz around Suicide Squad because, to be honest, it had a pretty good trailer.
Yeah.
The trailer was really quite good. The trailer made you go, oh, this is something a little bit different. This is something a little bit unique.
Is that really what you thought when you watched the trailer? This looks unique and different.
Yeah.
A gang of Marvel baddies.
DC baddies.
Put all together
Yep.
To make a super team of baddies that have to do good things.
Yeah.
And that for you was like groundbreaking shit.
That wasn't groundbreaking.
That was like, wow, they're really doing something different this year.
No. So, look, let's be very clear. There is nothing groundbreaking going on in Hollywood at all, ever. Any studio film that has been released is not groundbreaking
Well, what about
anymore.
like The Martian? That was really good.
That's not groundbreaking though. It's good, but
it was pretty groundbreaking.
No, it's not groundbreaking because it doesn't.
It's a hard science fiction film that hit the mainstream, and it's so hard to get a hard. So not science fiction, hard science fiction.
Yeah.
So it's not Star Trek. It's
don't get me
based in
wrong.
reality.
It's a good film, but it was also followed still all the tropes of like a guy. It's like Castaway in space, you know. It's you know, it has all those Hollywood touchstones within that screenplay. It's just set in Mars, and so this is a guy has to survive and brave the elements to make it back home. Like, that's a very, again, well-worn idea in Hollywood, but this was cool because A, it was on Mars, 2, it used like slightly inflated scientific hypotheses to, like, you know, tell the story, which was cool.
Yeah, I guess what made it groundbreaking for me was this idea of sort of popularizing science, you know, which is what I'm sure The Martian did that. I'm sure there's a million kids out there that watched that and were like, fuck yeah, I'm going to be a fucking scientist one day.
But so did like something like probably Apollo 13.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's true. That's another good example of that hard science thing, but that was 20 years ago.
It was a while ago.
What's it called? Hard science fiction? Is that what it's called?
Something like that.
It's definitely called something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago, though. So it's been a while now. Yeah, I guess it's...
But there's been a few before that, but I guess... no, I can't remember.
There was Gravity.
Sciencey.
Was it Gravity?
Yeah.
But that one was just a bit more farcical.
It was a little bit more farcical,
Yeah.
for sure. It was real farcical, actually, if you probably think back to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so no, in terms of... But it was just like, okay, this is a superhero film that's going to have bite, it's going to have a bit of edge to it, it's going to be a little bit, you know, different to the other 50. And I'm not going to go into too deep of spoilers, but I will say...
Well, so are you going to be giving spoilers? Because if you're giving spoilers to Suicide Squad, which is out in the cinemas right now and people are going to go see it, you've got to let people know...
I'm going to say...
I'm not bothered. I'm not going to watch the
I'm going to
thing.
talk in generalities. I'm going to say there's very modest spoilers in this review.
All right. I don't really trust Guy Pigden's judgment on what a spoiler is. But
I know spoilers better than anyone. I'm in the movies, man. I know when I'm going to get spoiled or not.
Yeah.
So, for starters, you know, the Suicide Squad, the whole idea is that they're bad guys, right? We're bad guys. It's what we do, is a line from the trailer. Except... Of course, this is the problem with like a PG-13 studio film is like, well, hey, look, they can't really be that bad, guys, because we want people to like them. And, you know, if you think about bad guys doing like...
We can't have the Joker raping people.
Yeah, because, you know, like...
We can't have Will Smith raping people.
Yeah, we can't have Will Smith raping people. Will Smith's not going to go for that, guys. So there was certainly quite an effort to sort of defang him a little bit. Like, you know, Will Smith's Deadshot, he's meant to be the stone cold hitman who goes about shooting people in the head. But, oh, wait a second, he only shoots bad guys. And, oh, wait a second, he's trying to earn money for his daughter to go through college. So he's totally a good guy. Oh, and he doesn't actually, he wants to put that life away of Deadshot for his daughter. Like, automatic cheese fest, automatic lameness. And, you know, it's just kind of stuff like that. And also, like, it's like, oh, it's the Suicide Squad, but, hey, like, Will Smith and Harley Quinn are the star because you got the sexy chick and you got the big box office draw. So it's not really the Suicide Squad. It's Deadshot and Harley Quinn and a bunch of other chumps who do sweet fuck all through the whole film. Then you have the issue, which is, like, my problem with, like, the way that the Marvel Universe works better is that they have superheroes that are kind of, at least to some degree, evenly matched, and they have, like, relatively similar powers.
Well, which one is Superman in?
DC.
And which one is Batman in?
DC.
Right.
So that is the problem, is what you're talking about is the Justice League has Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and The Flash, and a whole bunch of other people, and there's, like, you know, like... Take a look at this picture. What is wrong with it? There's one guy who dresses up in a bat suit, has 0 powers.
Yeah.
And then there's one guy that has all the superpowers in the world. And then there's one guy that has one of Superman's power, which is being super fast,
yeah.
but supposedly even faster than Superman. Otherwise, what's the point in his fucking power?
Yeah.
And then you got Wonder Woman, who's essentially Superman.
The female Superman.
But a female. And like, it's like... And again, in Suicide Squad, you've got a guy who's a super strong crocodile. You've got a guy that shoots good. you've got Harley Quinn, who actually has no definable villain skills. She's just the sidekick to the Joker, and she's quite acrobatic. And, she's kind of a manic, interesting personality, but she has nothing. So she has a baseball bat. Her superpower is being able to hit people with a baseball bat from time to time and wear hot pants. Those are her two superpowers. And so suddenly you're like, okay, well, we've got all these guys together. There's a guy called Captain Boomerang. So I want to let that sink in for a second.
Is he Australian?
Yeah.
Right.
Captain fucking Boomerang. What does he specialize? He's got, again, no real superpowers. He just throws boomerangs. That's it. That's all he does. He can throw a boomerang. Boomerang, I might add, pretty fucking shit.
Why wouldn't they get rid of Captain? Why just call him Boomerang? It's so much cooler than Captain Boomerang.
Well, yeah. Also, if you hit someone with a boomerang, it's not coming back. So the only way that a boomerang is successful is when you don't hit someone and it comes back to you.
Yeah.
That, boomerangs make no sense as a weapon.
Yeah.
So, right off the bat, you've got all these people when it's like, okay, so, Deadshot. Okay, so he's going to have to shoot a lot of people.
Yeah.
But we can't really show him shooting people
because it's PG-13, so...
So, what's he going to shoot? Okay, well, we'll have to make these weird...
Let's make him shoot things near people that explode.
That too, but, let's make, a weird kind of alien race thing. It's not a race, it's, basically, zombies, but... So they're... Humans.
But they're not humans.
They're not humans. They've been turned by this alien thing.
So it's okay to shoot them.
So it's okay to shoot them, especially because they now have no face. They are just, if you imagine, your thumb, right?
Yeah.
Sticking out of your shoulders.
Yeah.
With lumps on it, big warts on it.
Right.
That was the...
So it's like my... toe.
It's like your penis.
It's like my penis.
It's like your penis.
It's just like my penis.
So these warty penis aliens are the sort of relatively there's a bigger villain on top of that, but you've just got to fight these things, and of course they're completely disposable because they're these warty alien.
And are they CGI or do they have real people?
So they've got real people, and I think their heads are CGI.
Yeah.
And but whenever someone hits them, they CGI apart.
Yeah.
So that way Deadshot can shoot things, Harley Quinn can hit things with her baseball bat, the flame guy can throw flames, Captain Boomerang can hit one with his boomerang and not get his boomerang back,
and then go pick it up.
Walk over there and pick up his boomerang and go, oh, nice one, mate. And so, all of these things just don't really compute unless you think really carefully about how each person's individual skill will overall benefit and push the plot further when they fight these things, which they didn't think of. And so it was just flaccid. It was just a flaccid penis of a film.
Yeah.
And also, I will just touch on the Joker for a little minute.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of flaccid penises, I will just touch on
the Joker.
The Joker
for a minute. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, the Joker's not in it very much. We want to see more of him." I agree, but also, I'm not really sure about this Joker. I was like, let's judge, we've seen the damaged tattoo on his forehead, which is the most pretentious Joker thing a Joker could ever do. Tattoo damaged on his forehead. Oh, I'm damaged. Don't mess with me. I'm the Joker.
I was okay with that. I was like, oh, he's the millennial Joker.
Yeah, but he's the millennial hipster, whiny Joker.
Does he whine?
No, but I mean, just to do that, to tattoo that. But, I wasn't basically it was another take on the Joker, and it wasn't too bad. It was kind of interesting, and you did want to see more of him, but it was also kind of we don't have to reinvent the Joker every time we do the Joker. You know why the Joker's a great villain? Because he's portrayed he is one of the greatest villains of all time in the comic as the Joker in the comic. Why doesn't someone just do the Joker from the comic? Why do we got to do something different? So now he's kind of like a gangster, and he's got a grill, and he doesn't actually laugh or smile that much, and he's got tattoos to convey things. It always just seemed a little bit silly, you know? It was all just a little bit silly. So that's my review of Suicide Squad. It's definitely the trailer makes it seem.
What do you give that out of 5 stars?
Oh, that's a 4. That's a 4 for me.
4? That's pretty good. Out of 5?
Oh no,
or out of 10?
4 out of 10. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Well, I said out of 5.
Oh well, that's a 2 out of 5 stars. It's kind of that thing where the novelty is, it's do you want to see the Joker? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to see Harley Quinn? Okay. Yeah. Maybe check it out. But yeah, overall, it was just really fucking dumb.
Right. Well, look, I am not at all surprised. I am surprised that you're surprised.
Well, that's the thing.
Like, why, it's like any combination of anything to do with Marvel or DC and Hollywood is going to be bad, and I've yet to see a good one.
I completely disagree.
I'm yet to see a good one, and every single one has been disappointing. It's been exactly what I thought it was.
My problem with that comment is that you simply just do not buy into the world to begin with.
Yeah, but it's
you can't
such a silly
enjoy
world. It's not that I can't enjoy the comics, though. It's not that I can't enjoy Superman. It's that I can't enjoy these dumb CGI popcorn things aimed at 12-year-olds.
But these,
which is what they are.
Well,
13-year-olds.
You need to watch more because you've only watched it. What have you watched of the because I'm not defending the DC films. The DC films are sucking. But I'm talking about of the recent Marvel films, which ones have you watched?
Well,
none.
Which ones? Well, I don't know which one's Marvel and which one's DC.
So DC is Batman and Superman.
Okay, so
and pretty much and Suicide Squad. The rest is Marvel.
So like Green Lantern.
Green Lantern's DC.
Okay. We'll list off some other superhero ones.
Well, I'll just list off like the two best ones right now, which I know that you haven't seen.
Okay.
Which is Captain America 2 Winter Soldier.
Okay, I've seen Captain America 1 though, and that was exactly what I expected it to be. And then when I saw the trailer for the second one, I was like, that looks like a continuation of that dumb shit.
Well, it's not. It's a commentary on sort of terrorism and the sort of world in fear that we're living in. It's actually really quite good in terms of the sort of the depth of it.
Okay.
And so is and again Captain America 3 or Captain America Civil War, again really, really good.
Right.
You haven't seen that. Ant-Man, I would also say really pretty good. You haven't seen that.
What about Thor? And that one, all the other, Thor was exactly what I expected, and it was just a steaming pile of shit. All of them.
But what did you expect different from a Thor movie?
I guess the thing is, it's always the same kind of story. It's always the same sort of, stuff. I don't know, dude finds out he's all powerful. Dude goes and uses powers. Then turns out there's a baddie that's even more powerful than him. Dude succeeds and gets girl. And then in between you've just got these long really long boring action sequences of shit exploding and CGI people getting flung around, and it's just sometimes I'm when one of those action sequences starts, I'm like, can we skip this and continue with the story, please? Because I don't need to watch 8 minutes of explosions and buildings falling down. Because it's dumb. And because they're CGI, they don't look that good.
You're
not invested in the people that are dying in those buildings and shit.
The three that I've listed,
so
do not do any of those
sequels
things.
to Captain America and
Ant-Man don't really do any of those things.
Of all of the ones I've seen,
but that's what I'm saying is
and so I'm not saying that every single one will always suck, but I'm saying that every single one that I've seen sucks.
You've seen two.
No, I've seen plenty of superhero movies,
but I'm talking about the Marvel ones. So you've seen Thor and you've seen Captain America 1.
Yeah, well, I don't know which other ones are. Otherwise, I'd tell you which other ones are Marvel. But which other ones are there?
So there's Ant-Man, Avengers.
I watched part of Avengers, and I turned it off because I was like, this is shit.
The more recent Captain Americas are probably.
Is the Avengers good?
The first Avengers is not bad. The second Avengers is pretty bad. The first Avengers is pretty solid, but I just think that in terms of what Marvel's doing, you can't.
That blind one where Ben Affleck was blind.
See, that's Daredevil. That is Marvel, but that was before Marvel ran the studio.
Yeah.
So that was when things were being made without Marvel. What about the X-Men's?
Oh, see, don't like those either. I watched them all. The first one wasn't bad. The first one was watchable, and Wolverine was terrible. Right? Wolverine, the standalone Wolverine movie, I mean.
Oh, yeah, the standalone
that
Wolverine.
That was terrible.
But again, that wasn't done under the Marvel banner.
The first X-Men was fine. Probably one of the best ones of all of those superhero movies was the first X-Men, and then every other one I saw after that, and I don't know exactly which ones I saw, were not good. And you got to remember that I did watch a lot of movies. My old job used to be to watch TV and movies before they went on TV. So I did actually watch a hell of a lot of movies. That was my job. I was literally paid to watch movies to make sure there was no technical faults in there. So dips to black or audio interruptions or anything like that. That was my job. So I sat there watching movies 5 days a week. And so I did end up seeing a whole bunch of this shit. And I ended up hating those particular types of ones.
Well, I think you just have a real aversion towards superhero films because I don't think that Marvel can do better than what they've been doing recently, and all the things they've been doing recently.
I guess you're right. But I
do think, I totally agree with you that the DC films are bad and that they could do way better and that they're doing everything wrong.
I saw. Here's a good. I'm not against superhero films because what about that one? I really like that movie. It's not a DC or Marvel one. It's that other one with Kojak or whatever his name is. What? You know what's his name? He's got like a bag that he puts over his head and his face is like ink blots that are always moving.
Oh, The Watchmen.
The Watchmen. Now that is a high quality, well done, well made superhero film. That's easily the best superhero film I've ever seen.
But I will say about The Watchmen is the difference between The Watchmen and other superheroes films is it's made for grown-ups.
Yeah.
But the source material is from a graphic novel made for grown-ups.
Yeah.
Whereas these other ones are not.
Yeah. Well, that's probably the problem. I'm not watching kids' movies.
But to be aware, I will also just say that the director of The Watchmen is the director of Batman vs. Superman.
Well,
so I'm going to let that sink in.
That doesn't really mean much to me. So the guy took a paycheck, a multi-million-dollar paycheck to shoot like a shit film and a poor concept.
I don't think
good for
so.
him. I'd do it too. And I wouldn't look down on you if you took that contract.
I think that
it doesn't mean you're going to do necessarily the same kind of job.
But I think that he's actually I think The Watchmen was pretty good, although a lot of people say that it didn't really capture what was great about the graphic novels. I've read the graphic novels.
Yeah.
And I think it's an okay adaptation.
Well, you're never going to find the perfect. When you're doing something from a book, you're never going to find. But you're never going to make everyone happy.
I also think that as a visual storyteller, he's good, but he really is not good when it comes to plot and writing and acting. And he really, he had this great source material with
Watchmen. I was real happy with everything. Well, I don't remember any bits of that, disliking any bits of that really.
But that's what I'm saying. He had
a while ago.
Great source material.
Yeah.
And that helped him there. He didn't have great source material, and whenever he doesn't have great source material, he does a big turd.
Okay, well, good for him. I guess my whole point is just that superhero movies can be good, and I'm not against superhero movies, but I am against this type of childish, CGI
And I think that's a bit unfair because they are for younger people.
I saw a scene recently. Now, unfortunately, I can't remember what it was from, but I reckon you might have seen it anyway. There's a real gory, violent fight in a prison. One guy versus like 20 dudes, and it's a superhero movie. It's just come out recently, and it's a teaser of something that's coming up soon.
Right.
You didn't see that?
No.
I didn't do any research, but anyway, it was like very violent, and it was like a Marvel film, I think.
Yeah.
And it was super violent, like just a real gory prison killing, like real kind of real life-ish and brutal. And it was awesome.
I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, it might have been The Punisher or something like that. Is they doing another one of that?
Well, they've done a couple of that.
Yeah.
But who knows? It could be.
All right. Well, anyway, moving on. Some movie that I don't know the name of.
Well, we got to go, man.
We got to go.
Yep.
Damn, son.
I got to get back to my horrible life.
Yeah. All right. I just wanted to see if there's anything here. I did want to give a quick shout out though to Blair Martin, her longtime listener. It was his it's his birthday today as we record.
Yep.
Hey, coincidentally, Blair Martin's birthday is the same as my mum's birthday. Just realised that. Anyway, went to his birthday party last night. That was good. Met a girl there called Knee Car. I remember her name because she has a knee and she drives a car.
Yep.
So hello. She listens too. She's been listening to a few episodes. So
thank you for listening.
Blair put her onto the show. So
that's good of you, Blair.
Nika, if you're listening, hello.
And Blair, sorry, I couldn't have been there. I was working 14 hours that day.
Yeah. That sucks. So one thing was that I was going to go was that Blair Martin was talking about the podcast, and he was talking about the what do we call it? The Butt Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
The Butt Chronicles, which is where we discuss the fact that Guy and I have both had pilonidal sinuses, which is essentially a hole in the top of your butt crack, formed kind of by a hair, which then becomes this massive, horrible, gaping hole, which leaks pus and blood everywhere sometimes.
Well, yeah, well, it becomes like basically an inflamed ingrown hair, but it's not an ingrown hair like a normal.
There's no hair in there. You can't just remove the hair and fix it.
Yeah.
It's a tunnel that can only be fixed. It never heals. It's healed open sort of thing. So it can only be fixed by cutting it open again and letting it heal from the very, very bottom of it, very slowly. So every day you got to go into the doctor and have bandages put into the hole, and just every day there are a little tiny bit less bandage required because the hole is slowly filling up from the bottom, but the bandages are there to hold the hole open,
and it's got to heal with scar tissue, or the problem will reoccur.
Now the problem has reoccurred with me, and anyway, Blair was saying last night, he was like, man, I couldn't believe it, you guys were talking on the podcast and you got this weird butt shit, this weird butt disease that nobody ever heard of. This, and then it turned out that both of you had it. He thought, and I was laughing my ass off at that. That the weird butt disease is clearly.
Look, Blair, I'm glad you have been afflicted, but it's very common.
Yeah, so I hear.
It's just not talked about.
We just don't talk about
because people are not like, hey, I've got this thing on my butt that I had to get
except for me. Except for us.
Well, yeah, but, most people, it's just like prostate cancer, basically. Like a lot of people suffer from prostate cancer.
But
they don't necessarily come out and go, hey, by the way, I had prostate cancer and I had to get my prostate removed. Now I can't get boners.
Is that what happens?
Sometimes.
Right. Okay, well, let's steer the conversation
I'm
away
not sure
from cancer.
Look, that may not be 100% true. That's something I read. I better not say that I can verify that.
Right, well, we'll steer away from butt cancer and just stick to butt holes. As an update, I did go back to the doctor since my last time, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, can I please get put on this list to get a fucking surgery? And she was like, yeah, we'll put you on the list, but you won't hear anything for ages. And I was like, okay, sure. But then I haven't heard anything. It's been a lot of months, and I haven't even had like a confirmation like, hello, Mr. Neville, you are on the list. We'll get to you in 2017. It was just nothing, just no anything. So that is the update on the Butt Chronicles for Blair Martin.
Yeah. So
I'm waiting to hear.
When to hear,
just living with this every day, just living with it,
living in pain and very moderate discomfort.
It is very moderate, but yeah, I'm just living
in mild discomfort.
My weird
daily,
my weird butt disease.
No, look, shout out to anyone who's had a pilonidal sinus.
You guys,
piloidal sinus.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I say pilonidal.
Yeah, it could be. Shout out to those peeps. Stay strong.
If you've ever had a pilonidal sinus, we're with you. Make sure you hit thumbs up on this podcast. Make sure you subscribe. We're with you, homies.
We're repping you guys. But yeah, we've got to go.
We've got to go. So as one final thing, we better give a plug to all of the ways that you can support us. I'm in the process of selling another signed, personalized DVD today. So that's exciting. So if you want a personalized, signed copy of I Survived the Zombie Holocaust, you can do that by going facebook.com/ISAZH. Guy and I will sign it and we'll post it anywhere in the world. It's 25 New Zealand dollars plus P&P. And that will be a priceless heirloom one day. And then the other thing you can do is you can go and buy my t-shirts, which are $22.90. You can get them. It's Smart Apparel is the website, but don't worry about that. Go to facebook.com/Guy and Harley, and you'll hit the buy now button, and there'll be some a link to a t-shirt there. So go do that.
All right. See you next time.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.